My name is Elliot Ryder, and until 3 months ago, I thought I was living the American dream. Modest house in the suburbs, beautiful wife, adorable 7-year-old daughter named Sophie, who builds Lego castles that could rival actual architecture. I work as a tech consultant, drive a 10-year-old Honda, and buy my clothes at Target. To everyone who knows me, I'm just another middle-class guy trying to make ends meet. What they don't know is that I'm worth approximately $10 billion. Yeah, you read that right. $10 billion. With a B. I'm the anonymous investor behind Blackwell Industries, the company that employs half our town and happens to be owned by my father-in-law, Robert Blackwell. When the company was hemorrhaging money 5 years ago, facing bankruptcy and thousands of layoffs, a mysterious benefactor swooped in with enough capital to not only save the business, but transform it into a powerhouse. That benefactor was me, operating through a web of shell companies and offshore accounts that would make the Panama Papers look like a grocery list. Why the secrecy? Simple. I wanted to see who people really were when they thought I had nothing to offer them. My wife Vanessa doesn't know. Her parents don't know. Hell, even my daughter thinks Daddy fixes computers for a living. And for the most part, I do. It's the perfect cover. Boring enough that nobody asks too many questions. Flexible enough that I can manage my real business from anywhere. But lately, things have been different. Vanessa used to laugh at my jokes. She used to curl up next to me on the couch while Sophie played with her toys. She used to look at me like I was her hero, even when I came home with grease stains on my shirt from crawling under someone's desk to fix their network cables. Now she barely looks at me at all. Eli, can you pick up Sophie from school today? She calls from the bathroom, where she's been getting ready for the past hour. I have a client meeting that might run late. Sure thing, I reply, not bothering to mention that this is the 4th client meeting this week. I've been married to Vanessa for 8 years. I know the difference between her work voice and her lying voice. Right now, she's practically singing soprano. She emerges from the bathroom looking like she stepped off a magazine cover. New dress. Expensive. New perfume. Also expensive. Hair and makeup that probably took longer than most people's commutes. All for a client meeting at 6 p.m. on a Thursday. You look beautiful, I tell her, because she does. Vanessa has always been gorgeous. Blonde hair that catches the light just right, green eyes that used to sparkle when she looked at me, and a smile that could sell ice to Eskimos. It's part of what made her so good at her marketing job, and part of what made me fall for her in the first place. Thanks, she says, checking her phone, again. She's been glued to that thing lately, typing messages with the kind of secretive smile that makes my stomach clench. Who's the client? I ask casually. Just some new fitness company. They want to expand their brand presence. She's still looking at her phone. Nothing too exciting. Fitness company, right. I make a mental note to check our credit card statements later. Not because I'm worried about money, I could buy a small country if I wanted to, but because I'm starting to piece together a picture I don't like. After Vanessa leaves in a cloud of expensive perfume, I sit down at my computer and do what I do best, dig. Takes me exactly 12 minutes to hack into her email account. Another 15 to access her phone records. What I find makes my blood run cold. Text messages, dozens of them, all to the same number. Can't wait to see you tonight. Wear that thing I like. He's picking up Sophie. We have at least 2 hours. I think about you all day. This is getting dangerous. The responses are even worse. You deserve better than him, babe. When are you going to leave? I can give you everything he can't. Just say the word. Meet me at the usual place. I'll make you forget all about your problems at home. I lean back in my chair, staring at the screen. 8 years of marriage, a beautiful daughter, a life I thought we'd built together. And she's throwing it all away for some gym rat who probably thinks literature is the instruction manual for protein powder. But here's the thing about being secretly rich. You learn patience. You learn to play the long game. You learn that the best revenge isn't hot. It's ice cold and served with a smile. My phone buzzes. A text from Vanessa. Meeting running super late. Don't wait up. Love you. Love you. Sure she does. I close the laptop and go pick up my daughter. Sophie bounces into the car with her backpack dragging behind her, chattering about her day like nothing in the world could ever be wrong. She still believes in fairy tales and happy endings. She still thinks mommy and daddy love each other forever and ever. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure she never has to learn the truth about what her mother really is. Daddy, can we get ice cream? Sophie asks as I buckle her seatbelt. Absolutely, princess. What flavor are you thinking? Chocolate with sprinkles and maybe some of those little gummy bears. Sounds perfect. As we drive to the ice cream shop, Sophie chattering happily in the back seat, I start planning. 'Cause Vanessa wants to play games? Fine, she has no idea who she's playing with. She's about to find out that her simple, boring husband has some very complicated tricks up his sleeve. 2 weeks later, Vanessa drops the bomb. My parents want to have dinner with us this Saturday, she announces over breakfast, not looking up from her phone, of course. They're thinking of some kind of family celebration. Sophie perks up. Grandma and Grandpa's house? With the big staircase? That's right, sweetie. Vanessa finally looks up, but she's looking at Sophie, not me. You can play in the garden while the adults talk. Adults talk. I don't like the sound of that. In my experience, when the Blackwells want to talk, someone usually ends up feeling like they've been run over by a truck. Robert and Cynthia Blackwell are old money. The kind of people who think poverty is a character flaw and that anyone who shops at chain stores is personally responsible for the decline of Western civilization. They've never liked me, which is hilarious considering I'm the reason they still have a roof over their heads. But they don't know that. To them, I'm just the blue-collar nobody who knocked up their precious daughter and trapped her in a life beneath her station. Sounds great, I say, spreading peanut butter on Sophie's toast. Should I wear my good jeans or my really good jeans? Vanessa doesn't laugh. She used to laugh at my jokes, even the bad ones, especially the bad ones. Maybe something a little more formal, she suggests. You know how my parents are. Oh, I know exactly how her parents are. The question is, what are they planning? Saturday arrives with all the enthusiasm of a root canal. I put on my one decent suit, the one I bought for our wedding 8 years ago, and try to ignore the way Vanessa keeps checking her appearance in every reflective surface we pass. She's nervous about something, and it's not my fashion choices. The Blackwell mansion sits on 5 acres of perfectly manicured lawn in the most expensive part of town. It's the kind of house that screams, "We have more money than you'll ever see in your lifetime," which is ironic since I could probably buy 3 of them without checking my account balance. Cynthia greets us at the door wearing pearls and a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. "Elliot! So good to see you. You look nice." Nice. The way she says it, you'd think I showed up in a clown suit. "Thanks, Mrs. Blackwell. You look lovely as always." Robert appears behind his wife like a storm cloud in a $1,000 suit. "Elliot, come in, come in. We have quite a bit to discuss tonight." Sophie runs ahead into the house, already making a beeline for the garden. Smart kid. She can sense tension better than a seismograph. Dinner's exactly what I expected. Expensive food served on plates that cost more than most people's monthly rent, paired with conversation that makes small talk feel like a philosophical debate. Robert asks about my little computer business, with the kind of condescending interest you'd show a child's crayon drawing. Cynthia inquires about Sophie's education with thinly veiled suggestions that perhaps she'd benefit from better opportunities. Vanessa sits beside me, picking at her food and checking her phone every few minutes. The tension is so thick you could cut it with the sterling silver steak knife. Then, halfway through the main course, Robert sets down his fork and looks directly at me. "Elliot, I think it's time we had an honest conversation." Here we go. "You're a good man," he continues, which is usually how bad news starts. "And you've been a decent husband to Vanessa, but let's be realistic about the situation." "What situation is that, sir?" Robert and Cynthia exchange a look. Vanessa suddenly becomes very interested in her wine glass. "You're 37 years old," Cynthia says gently, like she's explaining something to a particularly slow child. "You fix computers for a living. You drive a car that's older than some of the wine in our cellar." "It gets good gas mileage," I say. Robert leans forward. "Vanessa is a brilliant woman with unlimited potential. She could be running her own company by now, traveling the world, making the kind of connections that matter. Instead, she's stuck in a suburban house, worrying about mortgage payments and grocery bills." "We manage just fine," I reply, though I'm starting to see where this is going. "Do you?" Cynthia asks. "Because from where we're sitting, it looks like you're holding her back." The words hang in the air like smoke. Vanessa still won't look at me. In fact, she's typing something on her phone under the table, probably texting her boyfriend about how this is all going according to plan. Robert reaches into his jacket and pulls out a manila envelope. He slides it across the table with the casual confidence of a man who's used to buying his way out of problems. We'd like to make you an offer, Elliot. A generous one. I stare at the envelope, but don't touch it. What kind of offer? The kind that would set you up for life, Robert says. Enough money to start over somewhere new. Maybe take some classes, learn a trade that pays better. Find a nice girl who's more compatible with your lifestyle. You're offering to pay me to divorce your daughter. We prefer to think of it as investing in everyone's future happiness. Cynthia says smoothly. Vanessa's yours, even little Sophie's. Children are remarkably resilient, you know. She'll adjust. I pick up the envelope. It's thick, heavy. Inside, I find a cashier's check for $200,000 and a pre-drafted divorce agreement that would give me minimal custody and no claim to any future assets. $200,000. They think they can buy me off for the equivalent of pocket change. I look at Vanessa. She's finally put down her phone, watching me with an expression I can't quite read. There's guilt there, sure, but also something else. Hope? Relief? Like she's been waiting for this moment and can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is very generous, I say finally. Robert smiles. We thought you'd see reason. I mean, $200,000, that's a lot of money for someone like me. It certainly is, Cynthia agrees. I fold the check and put it in my pocket along with the divorce papers. I'll need some time to think about it. Of course, Robert says. Take all the time you need, within reason. I stand up. Thank you for dinner and for the opportunity. It's been very enlightening. Vanessa looks confused. Eli, we haven't had dessert yet. I'm not really in the mood for something sweet, I reply. Sophie, time to go, princess. The drive home is silent, except for Sophie's chatter about the koi pond in the Blackwell's garden. Vanessa stares out the passenger window, probably wondering if I'm going to take the money and run or if she's going to have to find another way to get rid of me. After we put Sophie to bed, Vanessa finally speaks. So what are you thinking? About what? About what my parents offered. I sit down on the couch and look at her, really look at her. She's still beautiful, but there's something different now, something cold and calculating that I never noticed before. Or maybe I just didn't want to see it. I'm thinking, I say slowly, that your parents aren't the only ones who've been planning this conversation. She has the grace to look embarrassed. Eli, how long, Vanessa? How long what? How long have you been planning to get rid of me? How long have you been setting this up with your boyfriend and your parents? How long have you been lying to my face and pretending we're still a family? Her face goes white. I don't know what you're talking about. I pull out my phone and scroll to the screenshots I took of her text messages. Really? Because I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. She stares at the screen, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Finally, she finds her voice. You went through my phone? I'm a tech consultant, remember? It's what I do. You had no right. I had every right. I'm your husband. Or at least I was until your parents decided to buy me off like some kind of inconvenient pest. Vanessa stands up, her hands shaking. You don't understand. It's not what you think. Then explain it to me. I can't. Because you're in love with him. She doesn't deny it. That tells me everything I need to know. Fine, I say, standing up. You want out? You've got it. But we're going to do this my way. What does that mean? I smile, and for the first time in weeks, it feels genuine. It means you have no idea who you're dealing with, Vanessa. But you're about to find out. The next morning, I drive to my real office. Not the spare bedroom where I supposedly run my little computer business, but a gleaming 40-story tower downtown where I maintain a small, unremarkable suite on the 38th floor. The nameplate on the door reads ER Consulting, which technically isn't a lie. I do consult. I just consult about things like hostile takeovers, market manipulation, and the kind of financial warfare that can destroy entire companies before lunch. My assistant, Janet, greets me with coffee and a stack of reports. She's one of only 3 people who know my real identity, and I pay her enough to ensure her loyalty is absolute. Good morning, Mr. Ryder. The Blackwell Industries quarterly reports are on your desk. Thank you, Janet. Any unusual activity? Stock price is steady, no major news, although there have been some interesting developments in their marketing department. I raise an eyebrow. Oh? Vanessa Ryder has been using company resources to coordinate what appears to be personal meetings, conference rooms booked for client consultations that never appear in the billing records, company credit card charges at restaurants and hotels that don't match any client entertainment in the system. Of course she has. My wife is not only cheating on me, she's doing it on her father's dime. The irony is delicious, considering it's actually my money she's spending. Anything else? Miles Carr, the owner of Apex Fitness, has been calling the main office asking to speak with her directly. When told she's unavailable, he's been persistent. Miles Carr. So that's the boyfriend's name. I make a mental note to research Mr. Carr thoroughly. Thank you, Janet. I'll be in my office reviewing the quarterly numbers. Hold my calls unless it's urgent. I settle behind my desk and open my laptop. Time to do what I do best, follow the money. Blackwell Industries is my masterpiece. When I bought in 5 years ago, it was a dying company hemorrhaging cash and facing bankruptcy. The Blackwells had made a series of spectacularly bad decisions, including an expansion into overseas markets that collapsed when their primary supplier turned out to be running a Ponzi scheme. They lost everything, their investments, their reputation, and very nearly their company. That's when I stepped in. Operating through a network of shell companies and investment firms, I purchased 65% of Blackwell Industries for pennies on the dollar. Then I spent the next 2 years rebuilding it from the ground up. New management, new suppliers, new markets. I turned a failing family business into a multinational corporation worth over $15 billion. The Blackwells think they're running the show, but they're really just very well-paid employees. Robert sits in the CEO chair because I allow it. Cynthia runs her charity galas because I fund them. They live in their mansion and drive their luxury cars and look down on people like me because I make it possible. And now they want to pay me to disappear. I pull up Miles Carr's financial records. It takes me about 20 minutes to paint a complete picture, and what I see makes me laugh out loud. Apex Fitness is drowning in debt. Carr took out a massive loan 2 years ago to expand his operation, but his business model is fundamentally flawed. He's spending more on equipment and marketing than he's bringing in from memberships. His lease payments are 3 months behind, his equipment loans are in default, and he owes back taxes to 3 different government agencies. In other words, he's broke, completely, utterly, spectacularly broke. No wonder he's sniffing around my wife. He probably thinks marrying into the Blackwell family is his ticket out of financial ruin. What he doesn't realize is that the Blackwell money is actually my money, and I'm about to turn off the tap. My phone buzzes, a text from Vanessa. Can we talk when you get home? I think we need to discuss things like adults. Adults, right. I text back, sure, looking forward to it. I spend the rest of the day putting pieces into place. A few phone calls to the right people. Some carefully worded emails to key investors. A strategic leak to a financial blogger who specializes in corporate gossip. By 5 o'clock, the first domino is ready to fall. I drive home in my beat-up Honda, park in my modest driveway, and walk into my suburban house like the simple man everyone thinks I am. Sophie runs to greet me with a hug that nearly knocks me over. Daddy, I built a castle today. Come see! I follow her to the living room, where she's constructed an elaborate Lego fortress, complete with towers, walls, and a working drawbridge. It's actually pretty impressive. This is amazing, Princess. Did you design it yourself? Mostly, but I looked at pictures of real castles online. Did you know some castles had secret passages so the king could escape if bad guys tried to attack? I did not know that. That's very clever. Mommy says dinner will be ready soon. She made your favorite, pot roast. Vanessa only makes pot roast when she wants something, usually forgiveness. I find my wife in the kitchen wearing an apron and a nervous smile. The smell of comfort food fills the air, and for a moment, I almost forget that she's been planning to destroy our marriage. Smells good, I say. I thought we could have a nice family dinner. Just the 3 of us. Like old times. Before you started sleeping with your personal trainer? She flinches but doesn't deny it. Progress, I suppose. Eli, I know you're angry. Angry, I laugh. Vanessa, I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. There's a difference. I never meant for this to happen. Which part? The affair or getting caught? She sets down the wooden spoon she's been stirring with. Both, neither. I don't know. Are you in love with him? The question hangs between us like a loaded tool. Vanessa looks at the floor, then at the ceiling, then finally at me. I think so. You think so? It's complicated. No, Vanessa, it's really not. You either love him or you don't. You either want to be married to me or you don't. You either give a damn about our family or you don't. Of course I care about our family. Really? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you care more about your boyfriend's abs than your daughter's stability. That's not fair. You're right. Fair would be if you'd had the courage to ask for a divorce before you started shopping for my replacement. Fair would be if you hadn't conspired with your parents to humiliate me at dinner last night. Fair would be if you'd treated me with even a fraction of the respect I've shown you for the past 8 years. Tears start rolling down her cheeks. I'm sorry. For which part? All of it. Everything. I know I've made mistakes. Mistakes? I can't help but laugh again. Vanessa, you didn't make mistakes. You made choices. Deliberate, calculated choices, and now you get to live with the consequences. What does that mean? I walk over to the kitchen counter and pick up the envelope her father gave me. I pull out the check and the divorce papers, holding them up so she can see. It means I'm going to sign these papers. You're going to get exactly what you wanted. Relief floods her face. Really? Really. But there's one small problem. What? I tear the check in half, then in half again, letting the pieces flutter to the kitchen floor like confetti. I don't want your parents' money. I don't need it. Confusion replaces relief. I don't understand. You will. Sophie's voice carries from the living room. Mommy, Daddy, dinner. Coming, princess, I call back. Then, to Vanessa, we should eat. It might be our last family dinner for a while. As we sit around the table, Sophie chattering about her day, while Vanessa pushes food around her plate, I think about everything that's about to change. Tomorrow, the financial markets will open to some very interesting news about Blackwell Industries. By the end of the week, Robert and Cynthia will be scrambling to save their company, and Vanessa will finally understand exactly who she married. But tonight, I'm just a dad having dinner with his daughter, listening to her explain the strategic advantages of castle architecture, while her mother slowly realizes that the simple man she thought she could discard might not be as simple as he seems. The best part? This is just the beginning. The financial markets open Monday morning with a bang that could be heard from space. Blackwell Industries under investigation for accounting irregularities, screamed the headline on the Wall Street Journal's website. By 10 a.m., the stock price had dropped 15%. By noon, it was down 30%. By closing bell, Blackwell Industries had lost nearly half its market value. The beautiful thing about financial warfare is that it's all perfectly legal. A few well-placed questions to the right regulatory agencies, some carefully leaked documents suggesting potential improprieties, and suddenly everyone wants to take a closer look at your books. Even when those books are completely clean, the mere suggestion of scandal is enough to send investors running for the exits. I'm sitting in my real office, watching the carnage unfold on multiple monitors when Janet buzzes the intercom. Mr. Ryder, Robert Blackwell is on line 1. He sounds agitated. I smile, put him through. Elliot? Robert's voice is strained, almost panicked. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Of course, Mr. Blackwell. What can I do for you? Did you talk to anyone about our conversation Saturday night? Anyone at all? I lean back in my chair. I'm not sure what you mean. The stock price, Elliot. We're being hammered. There are rumors flying about accounting problems, regulatory investigations, potential fraud. The board is in emergency session, and I've got reporters calling every 5 minutes asking for comment. That sounds terrible. I'm sorry to hear it. So you didn't mention anything to anyone? About the company, about our family situation, about anything we discussed? Mr. Blackwell, I fix computers for a living. I wouldn't even know who to talk to about something like that. There's a long pause. Right, of course. I'm grasping at straws here. This came out of nowhere. I'm sure it will all work out. These things usually do. After I hang up, I allow myself a moment of satisfaction. Then I get back to work. Phase 2 of my plan requires a more personal touch. I drive across town to Apex Fitness, Miles Carr's temple to physical perfection. It's one of those aggressively masculine gyms where the weights are always too heavy and the music is always too loud. The kind of place where guys like Miles go to convince themselves that bicep circumference is a reasonable substitute for intelligence. I park my Honda between a BMW and a Mercedes, enjoying the contrast, and walk inside. The gym is exactly what I expected. All chrome and mirrors and motivational posters featuring impossibly muscled people doing impossible things. The air smells like sweat and protein powder and desperation. Miles' car is easy to spot. He's the guy in the center of it all, leading a group fitness class with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for religious revivals. He's everything I'm not. Tall, tan, and built like a Greek statue. The kind of man who probably irons his workout clothes and uses more hair product than my wife. I wait until the class ends, then approach the front desk. I'd like to speak with Miles Carr about personal training, I tell the receptionist, a young woman who looks like she lives on nothing but kale smoothies and good intentions. Absolutely. Miles is the best trainer we have. Let me grab him for you. Miles walks over with the confident stride of a man who's never doubted his place in the world. He's wearing a tight t-shirt that shows off every muscle group and a smile that probably works on most people. Hey there, I'm Miles. Looking to get in shape? Something like that. I extend my hand. Elliot Ryder. His grip is firm, aggressive, the kind of handshake that's supposed to establish dominance. Great to meet you, Elliot. What are your fitness goals? Well, Miles, I'm going through a bit of a life change. My wife and I are getting divorced, and I figure it's time to work on myself. Maybe become the kind of man who deserves better. Something flickers in his eyes. Divorced, huh? That's rough, man. But hey, sometimes these things happen for a reason, you know? Absolutely. Sometimes you discover that the person you married isn't who you thought they were. Sometimes you find out they've been lying to you about everything that matters. Miles shifts uncomfortably. Right. Well, exercise is great for working through emotional stuff. Really helps clear your head. I'm sure it does. My wife actually recommended you specifically. Vanessa Blackwell? Well, Vanessa Ryder now, but she'll probably go back to Blackwell after the divorce. The color drains from his face. Vanessa, mention me. Oh yes, she had very good things to say about your technique. Miles looks around the gym like he's searching for an escape route. Listen, man, I think there might be some kind of misunderstanding. Is there? Because I was under the impression that you've been providing my wife with very personal, very intensive training sessions, often at times when the gym is officially closed. I don't know what you're talking about. I pull out my phone and scroll to the screenshots of Vanessa's text messages. Really? Because I have about 50 messages that suggest otherwise. Miles stares at the screen, his jaw working like he's trying to swallow something unpleasant. Finally, he looks up at me with the kind of a defiant expression that guilty people wear when they've been caught red-handed. Look, Elliot, I didn't plan for this to happen. It just did. What just happened, Miles? Vanessa and we connected. She was unhappy, and I was there for her. Sometimes these things just develop naturally. Naturally, right. And how long has this natural development been going on? A few months. How many months, Miles? 6, maybe 7. 7 months. While I was working late to provide for our family, while I was helping Sophie with her homework and planning weekend trips and being the kind of husband I thought Vanessa wanted, she was here with Captain Protein Shake, connecting on the yoga mats. And you knew she was married. Yeah, and you knew she had a child. Look, man, I'm not the bad guy here. Vanessa told me all about your marriage, how you guys grew apart, how you weren't meeting her needs, how she felt trapped and unfulfilled. I just gave her what she wasn't getting at home. What she wasn't getting at home. Yeah, passion, excitement, someone who really sees her for who she is. I nod thoughtfully. And who is she, Miles? In your expert opinion? She's amazing. Beautiful, intelligent, ambitious. She deserves someone who can keep up with her. Someone who can give her the life she wants. The life she wants? You mean money. I mean everything. Adventure, travel, nice things. She shouldn't have to worry about mortgage payments and grocery bills when she could be living like a queen. And you think you can give her that life? Miles puffs out his chest. I know I can. This is too perfect. Really? Because from what I hear, Apex Fitness isn't doing so well financially. Something about defaulted loans and back taxes. His confident expression falters. We're going through a rough patch, but it's temporary. I've got big plans for expansion, new investors lined up. What investors? Well, Vanessa's father is very interested in the fitness industry. We've been talking about potential partnerships. Of course they have. Miles thinks he's going to marry into money, and Robert thinks he's found a way to get rid of me while keeping his daughter happy. It's a beautiful plan, except for one small detail. That's interesting, I say, especially considering that Robert Blackwell's company lost about $2 billion in market value today. Miles blinks. What? Haven't you been watching the news? Blackwell Industries is in freefall. Something about accounting irregularities and federal investigations. Very messy stuff. That's not possible. Check your phone. Miles pulls out his phone and starts scrolling frantically. I watch his face go through several stages of grief as he reads the headlines. This doesn't change anything, he says finally, but his voice lacks conviction. Doesn't it? Because I'm pretty sure Vanessa isn't going to be quite as attractive when her trust fund disappears and her father's reputation is in ruins. You don't know what you're talking about. Maybe not, but I know my wife better than you do, Miles. And I know that when the money runs out and she's going to start looking for someone else to take care of her. Someone with better prospects than a failing gym owner who can't even pay his rent. Miles steps closer, trying to use his size to intimidate me. You think you're pretty smart, don't you? I think I'm smart enough to see what's happening here. You're broke, desperate, and looking for a meal ticket. Vanessa is bored, entitled, and looking for excitement. It's a match made in heaven, except for the part where neither of you has any money. I don't have to listen to this. No, you don't, but you might want to start thinking about your future, Miles, because the gravy train you thought you were boarding just derailed. I turn to leave, then pause. Oh, and Miles, if I were you, I'd start looking for a new job. Something tells me the fitness industry is about to get very competitive. As I walk out of the gym, I can hear Miles behind me, frantically making phone calls, probably trying to reach Vanessa or Robert or anyone who can tell him that this is all just a bad dream. But it's not a dream. It's just the beginning of a very long nightmare, and I'm just getting started. By Wednesday morning, my phone hasn't stopped ringing. Vanessa called 17 times Tuesday night. Her parents called another dozen times. Even Miles tried to reach me, though I can't imagine what he thought he was going to say. I let them all go to voicemail and spent the evening building Lego castles with Sophie, who remains blissfully unaware that her mother's world is collapsing around her. The financial media is having a field day with Blackwell Industries. Every business news channel is running the story, complete with talking heads speculating about potential fraud, regulatory violations, and the possibility of criminal charges. The stock price has stabilized somewhat, but only because it can't fall much further without hitting zero. I'm in my real office, reviewing the latest reports, when Janet buzzes the intercom. Mr. Ryder, there's a woman here to see you. She says she's your wife. Interesting. Vanessa has never been to this office. She doesn't even know it exists. Send her in. Vanessa enters looking like she hasn't slept in days. Her usually perfect hair is pulled back in a messy ponytail, her makeup is smudged, and she's wearing jeans and a t-shirt instead of her usual designer outfits. She looks around the office with obvious confusion, taking in the expensive furniture, the wall of monitors, the view of the city's skyline. What is this place, Eli? This is where I work. But I thought, your computer business is one of many business interests. Sit down, Vanessa. She perches on the edge of the chair across from my desk, like she's ready to bolt at any moment. I don't understand what's happening. What don't you understand? Any of it. My father's company is being destroyed. Reporters are calling the house every 5 minutes, and Miles won't return my calls? And now I find out you have some kind of secret office downtown that looks like it belongs to a Fortune 500 CEO. I lean back in my chair. What would you like to know? I want to know who you really are. I'm your husband, or at least I was, until you decided to trade me in for a newer model. Don't do that. Don't make jokes. Not now. You're right. This isn't funny. None of it is funny. Vanessa looks at the monitors behind my desk, where stock prices scroll by in real time. Are you some kind of day trader? Something like that. And you never told me? Would it have mattered? Of course it would have mattered. If I'd known you were successful, if I'd known you had money, you would have what? Loved me more, respected me more, not cheated on me with your personal trainer? She has the grace to look ashamed. That's not what I meant, isn't it? Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like you're saying you would have treated me better if you'd known I was rich. That's not fair. Fair. Vanessa, you let your parents offer me money to disappear. You've been planning to divorce me so you can run off with a broke gym owner who thinks your trust fund is going to save his failing business. And now you want to talk about fair? Tears start rolling down her cheeks. I know I made mistakes. Stop calling them mistakes. They weren't mistakes, they were choices. Fine, I made bad choices, but I wanted to fix this. I want to make things right. How? I'll end things with Miles. I'll tell my parents to back off. We can go to counseling, work through our problems. What problems, Vanessa? What do you mean? I mean, what problems did we have before you decided to start sleeping with someone else? Was I not a good husband? Was I not a good father? Did I not love you enough, support you enough, give you enough of myself? She stares at me, unable to answer. The problem wasn't our marriage, Vanessa. The problem was that you got bored. You wanted excitement, adventure, passion. You wanted to feel special and desired and important. And instead of talking to me about it, instead of working on our relationship, you decided to find those things somewhere else. I'm sorry. I know you are, but sorry doesn't fix this. Then what does? I stand up and walk to the window, looking out at the city below. Nothing fixes this, Vanessa. What's done is done. So that's it? You're just going to give up on us? I'm not giving up on anything. I'm accepting reality. You don't love me anymore. Maybe you never did. Maybe you just love the idea of being married, of having a family, of playing house in the suburbs. That's not true. I turn back to face her. Then why did you cheat on me? Because you thought you deserved better. Because you thought I was holding you back. Because you thought you could do better than a simple computer technician who drives an old Honda and shops at Target. Eli, the irony is beautiful, Vanessa. You threw away our marriage because you thought I wasn't good enough for you. But the whole time, I was the one who was too good for you. I don't understand. I walk back to my desk and pull out a folder. Inside are financial documents, corporate filings, and bank statements. I spread them out so she can see. I own 65% of your father's company, Vanessa. I'm the anonymous investor who saved Blackwell Industries from bankruptcy. Every dollar your family has spent for the past 5 years came from me. She stares at the documents like they're written in a foreign language. That's impossible. The mansion your parents live in? I paid for it. The cars they drive? I bought them. The country club memberships, the charity galas, the designer clothes, all of it came from my money. But how? You're just what? Just a simple computer guy who couldn't possibly have built a $10 billion investment portfolio? 10 billion? Give or take a few hundred million. Vanessa slumps in her chair like someone cut her strings. I don't believe you. I pick up my phone and dial Janet's extension. Janet, could you bring in the Blackwell Industries ownership documents? The ones showing ER Holdings' controlling stake. A minute later, Janet enters with a thick folder. She sets it on the desk and leaves without a word. ER Holdings, I explain, opening the folder. Elliott Ryder Holdings, that's me, Vanessa. I'm the mysterious benefactor your father talks about at dinner parties. I'm the silent partner who turned his failing company into a multinational corporation. Vanessa picks up one of the documents with shaking hands. This says you own... This can't be right. 65%, controlling interest, which means I could fire your father tomorrow if I wanted to. I could dissolve the company, sell it to competitors, or run it into the ground just for fun. Why are you telling me this? Because you wanted to know who I really am. This is who I am, Vanessa. I'm not the simple man you thought you married. I'm not the failure your parents think they can buy off with pocket change. I'm the person who's been taking care of all of you for years, and you never even knew it. But why didn't you tell me before? Because I wanted to see who you really were when you thought I had nothing to offer you. And now I know. She's crying openly now, mascara running down her cheeks. Eli, please, we can fix this. We can start over. No, we can't. But you love me. I know you love me. I love the woman I thought you were. But that woman doesn't exist. She never did. That's not true. I'm still me. I'm still the woman you married. The woman I married wouldn't have cheated on me. The woman I married wouldn't have conspired with her parents to humiliate me. The woman I married would have talked to me about her problems instead of running to the first guy who paid attention to her. I can change. You shouldn't have to change, Vanessa. You should have been the person I thought you were all along. I walk around the desk and sit on the edge, looking down at her. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to sign those divorce papers your father gave me. You're going to get exactly what you wanted. Your freedom. I don't want my freedom anymore. Yes, you do. You just don't want the consequences that come with it. What consequences? I smile, but there's no warmth in it. You'll see. Eli, please, think about Sophie. Think about our family. I am thinking about Sophie. I'm thinking about how she deserves better than parents who lie to each other and cheat on each other and use each other. I'm thinking about how she deserves at least one parent who has integrity. You're going to take her away from me. I'm not going to take her anywhere, but I am going to make sure she understands the difference between right and wrong, something you apparently never learned. Vanessa stands up, her face flushed with anger. You can't do this. You can't just destroy everything because your feelings got hurt. My feelings got hurt? Vanessa, you didn't hurt my feelings. You destroyed my trust, betrayed my love, and made a mockery of our marriage. And you did it all while spending money that I earned. I didn't know. You didn't know because you never bothered to ask. You never cared enough about me to wonder how I really felt about anything. You just assumed I was the simple, boring man you could take for granted while you looked for something better. That's not true, isn't it? When was the last time you asked me about my dreams, Vanessa? When was the last time you wondered if I was happy? When was the last time you looked at me and saw a person instead of just an obstacle to the life you thought you deserved? She doesn't answer because she can't. We both know the truth. Go home, Vanessa. Pack your things, move in with Miles or your parents or whoever will take you. But understand this. We're done, and there's no amount of money, tears, or apologies that's going to change that. You're making a mistake. No, marrying you was the mistake. This is just me finally admitting it. After she leaves, I sit alone in my office, staring out at the city skyline. For the first time in months, I feel something like peace. The pretense is over. The lies are exposed. The simple man is dead. Now comes the interesting part.